Before our modern civilization, before the rise and fall of empires that fill our history books, there existed a land of profound spiritual wisdom, a place where humanity lived in perfect harmony with the earth and cosmos. This sacred civilization was known as Lemuria, the motherland of spiritual consciousness on our planet. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a world where people communicated not through words, but through the language of the heart. A civilization built not on competition and conquest, but on cooperation, intuition, and divine connection. This is the story of Lemuria, and if you've ever felt a mysterious pull toward ancient wisdom, if you've ever stood by the ocean and felt an inexplicable sense of homecoming, or if you've ever wondered why certain spiritual practices seem to awaken something dormant within you, then this journey is especially for you. Today we will explore the complete story of Lemuria, from its celestial beginnings to its eventual transformation, and most importantly, how its legacy continues to influence spiritual seekers in our modern world. This is not merely a historical account, but a spiritual remembrance, an awakening of knowledge that your soul may have carried across many lifetimes. Stay with me until the end, because what you discover might explain the deep knowing you've carried within your heart, the unexplainable connections you feel to certain places on Earth, and perhaps even the spiritual gifts that seem to flow through you naturally. The wisdom of Lemuria isn't just a tale of the past, it's a key to your spiritual future. Let's begin our journey into the heart of Lemuria, the cradle of spiritual wisdom on Earth. Lemuria stands as one of the most enigmatic and profound lost civilizations ever known to humankind. Unlike Atlantis, which came later and focused more on technological advancement, Lemuria represents our first steps as spiritually awakened beings on this planet. The story of Lemuria has been preserved through indigenous oral traditions, channeled information from spiritual masters, and the intuitive knowing of countless souls who carry its memory in their DNA. Though mainstream archaeology doesn't acknowledge its existence, those with eyes to see and hearts to feel know the truth that lies beneath the surface. The name Lemuria was first coined in the 1800s by scientists, attempting to explain how similar species like lemurs could exist on continents separated by vast oceans. They proposed a land bridge or continent that once connected these distant lands. While this scientific theory eventually gave way to plate tectonics and continental drift, spiritual wisdom keepers had long known about this ancient motherland by other names. To truly understand Lemuria, we must look beyond physical evidence and open ourselves to spiritual truth. For Lemuria was more than just a place. It was a state of consciousness, a vibrational reality, where humanity existed in its most divine expression. The Lemurian civilization is believed to have begun over 50,000 years ago, with some spiritual teachings suggesting it may have existed for hundreds of thousands of years. It was a vast continent, spanning much of what is now the Pacific Ocean, connecting parts of Australia, Asia, North America, and South America. The Hawaiian Islands, Mount Shasta in California, parts of Peru, Easter Island, and certain regions of Southeast Asia are all believed to be remnants of this once mighty land. What made Lemuria truly extraordinary wasn't its size, but the consciousness of its people. Lemurians were tall, graceful beings with an ethereal quality about them. Their bodies were less dense than our modern forms, existing in a state somewhere between physical and light body. This allowed them to shift vibrations and even dimensions with conscious intention. The Lemurian people possessed extraordinary spiritual gifts that would seem almost magical to us today. They were natural telepaths, able to communicate through thought and feeling rather than spoken language. They could see energy fields and auras as clearly as we see physical objects. Their third eye and crown chakras were fully activated, giving them access to higher realms of consciousness and direct communion with spiritual guides, nature spirits, and the divine source itself. Imagine living in a world where you could feel the consciousness of every tree, communicate with the spirit of the ocean, and understand the sacred language of the stars. This was daily reality for the Lemurians. They didn't see themselves as separate from nature or the cosmos. They experienced the truth of oneness in every moment. The social structure of Lemuria wasn't based on dominance or hierarchy, but on the natural flow of energy and the unique gifts each soul brought to the collective. They lived in harmony, with each person knowing their divine purpose and how it served the greater good. There was no concept of ownership as we understand it today. Resources were shared, knowledge was freely given, and the focus was always on spiritual growth and service to all life. Lemurian cities were architectural wonders, but not in the way we might imagine. They used living materials, crystals that grew and responded to consciousness, structures that worked with the natural energy flows of the earth, and buildings that enhanced, rather than disrupted, the surrounding ecosystems. Some of their greatest temples were partially in our physical dimension and partially in higher realms, accessible only through specific states of consciousness. The most sacred of these temples was the Temple of the Sun, said to be located in what is now Hawaii. Here, Lemurian high priests and priestesses worked with solar energies to heal, to prophesy, and to maintain the spiritual balance of their civilization. Other significant sites included the Temple of Sound, in the region now known as Mount Shasta, where sound frequencies were used to elevate consciousness, and the Crystal City, believed to be somewhere near present-day Tahiti, where the most advanced energy work and healing took place. Lemurian technology wasn't based on machines or electricity, but on consciousness and energy. They understood how to harness crystal energy for healing, communication, and even transportation. They could manipulate sound frequencies to alter physical reality, heal the body, and connect with other dimensions. They worked with light technologies that responded directly to thought, enabling them to create, shape, and manifest with precision and harmony. One of their most remarkable achievements was telepathic communication across vast distances. Special crystal devices amplified thought energy, allowing instantaneous connection regardless of physical separation. They also developed methods of recording knowledge and experiences directly into crystals, living libraries that could transfer entire lifetimes of wisdom through resonance with the seeker's consciousness. The Lemurians had a profound understanding of healing. They knew that all physical ailments began as energetic imbalances, and they addressed the root spiritual and emotional causes rather than just treating symptoms. Their healers worked directly with the body's energy field, using sound, light, crystals, and consciousness to restore harmony. Diseases as we know them today were rare, as they lived in such alignment with natural and spiritual laws. Education in Lemuria wasn't about memorizing facts or developing analytical thinking, but about awakening innate wisdom. Young Lemurians learned through direct experience, spiritual communion, and by accessing the Akashic records, the energetic library containing all knowledge and experience. They developed their intuitive gifts from an early age and were taught to honor the divine in all things. Now, perhaps you're wondering, if Lemuria was so advanced and so spiritually evolved, what happened? Why did this paradise fall? This is where the story takes a turn that holds profound lessons for us today. The fall of Lemuria didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual process that unfolded over thousands of years. The Lemurian spiritual leaders and seers began to notice subtle shifts in Earth's energetic field. They foresaw that major Earth changes were coming, shifts in the planet's axis, rising waters, and volcanic activity that would eventually submerge much of their homeland. But there was something deeper happening as well. The Earth was entering a new phase in its evolutionary journey, a necessary descent into lower vibrations, denser realities, and greater separation consciousness. This was not a punishment or a tragedy, but part of the divine plan for soul evolution on our planet. For just as we cannot know light without experiencing darkness, humanity could not fully appreciate unity consciousness without journeying through separation. The Lemurian elders understood this cosmic cycle. They knew that their civilization would need to give way to others, including Atlantis, and that humanity would need to journey through thousands of years of forgetting before the Great Remembering could begin. And so they prepared. In the final days of Lemuria, an extraordinary project was undertaken. The most advanced priests, priestesses, and wisdom keepers worked tirelessly to preserve their knowledge for future generations. They encoded their spiritual understanding into crystals, hiding them deep within the earth in sacred sites around the world. They anchored specific frequencies into mountain ranges, bodies of water, and energetic vortexes that would remain accessible even as the physical continent disappeared beneath the waves. Most importantly, they preserved their wisdom within the DNA of humanity itself, dormant codes that would awaken at the appointed time when Earth's vibration once again rose to the level where this knowledge could be received and understood. Some Lemurians chose to physically relocate before the cataclysms. Small groups migrated to what is now Tibet, Peru, Australia, and North America, becoming the ancestors of indigenous peoples who carried fragments of the ancient wisdom. Others went inward, establishing civilizations in the inner earth that some spiritual teachings say exist to this day in a higher dimensional frequency. Still others chose to leave the earth plane entirely, ascending to higher dimensions or returning to the star systems from which many of their souls had originally come, particularly the Pleiades, Sirius, and Lyra. These ascended Lemurians continue to guide and assist humanity from these higher realms, working with those who are ready to remember. The physical continent of Lemuria is said to have met its end approximately 12,000 years ago, though some portions had been sinking for thousands of years before that. Massive earth changes, volcanic eruptions, and rising sea levels gradually claimed the land. The final chapter came with a series of catastrophic events that submerged the remaining islands, leaving only scattered mountaintops above the waters, many of which are the islands of the Pacific we know today. But while the land may have disappeared beneath the waves, the soul of Lemuria never died. It has been held in trust, waiting for the time when humanity would be ready to remember, to reconnect, and to reawaken to the spiritual truths that the Lemurians embodied. Many spiritual teachings tell us that time is now. We find ourselves at a pivotal moment in Earth's history. After thousands of years of deepening separation, materialism, and disconnection from our spiritual nature, the pendulum is beginning to swing back. The vibration of our planet is rising. Ancient knowledge is resurfacing. People around the world are experiencing spontaneous spiritual awakenings, remembering past lives, developing intuitive gifts, and feeling called to a more heart-centered way of living. This is not happening by chance. It is the activation of the Lemurian codes that have lain dormant within us, waiting for this precise moment in our evolutionary journey. But what exactly does Lemurian wisdom have to offer us in today's world? How can these ancient teachings help us navigate the challenges we face and create a more beautiful future? Let's explore the core principles of Lemurian consciousness and how they apply to our modern lives. At the heart of Lemurian wisdom is the understanding that consciousness creates reality. The Lemurians knew that our thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and intentions aren't just internal experiences. They are energetic forces that shape our external world. In today's language, we might call this manifestation or the law of attraction, but the Lemurians embodied this truth at a much deeper level. They understood that true creation doesn't come from the mind alone, but from the heart, from that sacred space where our individual consciousness meets the divine. They knew how to enter states of perfect alignment, where their creation served not just personal desires, but the highest good of all. This wisdom teaches us to be mindful of our thoughts, to purify our emotions, and to set intentions that are in harmony with our soul's purpose and the greater good. Another fundamental aspect of Lemurian consciousness was their relationship with nature. They didn't see the natural world as a resource to be exploited or as something separate from themselves. They experienced the living consciousness in all things, the intelligence of plants, the spirit of animals, the awareness within crystals and stones, the sentience of mountains and oceans. This perspective is desperately needed in our modern world where disconnection from nature has led to environmental devastation. Lemurian wisdom calls us to restore our sacred relationship with the earth, to listen to the intelligence of nature, and to recognize that healing our planet begins with healing our perception of our place within the web of life. The Lemurians also possessed a profound understanding of the body as a temple for the soul. They knew that physical health couldn't be separated from emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. Their approach to healing addressed all levels of being simultaneously, recognizing that true health comes from alignment with divine harmony. In a time when our healthcare systems focus primarily on physical symptoms while often ignoring the deeper causes of illness, this holistic perspective offers a path to more complete healing. It reminds us to attend to our emotional wounds, clear limiting beliefs, and nurture our spiritual connection as essential aspects of maintaining physical health. Perhaps most relevant to our current global situation is the Lemurian understanding of unity consciousness. While honoring the unique expression of each individual soul, they experienced the fundamental oneness that connects all life. They knew that harm done to any part of the web affects the whole, and that true prosperity can only come through cooperation, compassion, and care for all. As we face unprecedented challenges that transcend national boundaries and require global cooperation, this perspective of interconnection is essential. It calls us beyond the illusions of separation that fuel conflict, competition, and exploitation toward a recognition that our well-being is inseparably linked with the well-being of all life on Earth. The Lemurians also worked consciously with higher dimensional beings, nature spirits, and star nations. They didn't worship these beings as gods, but collaborated with them as allies in service to evolution. They understood that Earth is part of a cosmic community and that many advanced civilizations take an active interest in our development. As more people today experience contact with angels, spirit guides, ascended masters, and even extraterrestrial intelligences, the Lemurian approach offers a balanced framework for these interactions, neither dismissing them as fantasy nor surrendering our sovereignty, but engaging with discernment, respect, and a focus on how these connections can serve the highest good. One of the most beautiful aspects of Lemurian culture was their celebration of the divine feminine. Unlike later civilizations that became increasingly patriarchal, Lemurians honored the sacred feminine as equal to the masculine. Their spiritual practices, governance, and daily life reflected a harmonious balance of these energies. In our current time, as we witness the resurrection of feminine wisdom after thousands of years of suppression, Lemurian teachings offer a vision of what true balance can look like. Not a pendulum swing from one extreme to another, but a sacred marriage of complementary energies within each of us and within our collective structures. Now, you might be wondering, how can I connect with this Lemurian wisdom? How can I activate these dormant memories and abilities within myself? The beautiful truth is that if you feel drawn to this information, the awakening has already begun. Your soul recognizes these frequencies. Something within you remembers, and there are specific practices that can accelerate this remembering and help you integrate these ancient ways of being into your modern life. One powerful method is to work with crystals, particularly those associated with Lemuria. Clear quartz, rose quartz, and especially Lemurian seed crystals, recognizable by the horizontal striations or barcodes on their sides, can help activate dormant memories and spiritual gifts. Hold these crystals during meditation, sleep with them near your bed, or simply carry them with you to strengthen your connection to Lemurian consciousness. Sound is another potent key. The Lemurians worked extensively with sound frequencies for healing, manifestation, and interdimensional communication. Singing bowls, tuning forks, chanting, and certain forms of music can help attune your energy field to Lemurian frequencies. Pay attention to the sounds that resonate deeply within you. They may be activating specific Lemurian codes in your DNA. Connecting with Lemurian power spots on the Earth can also accelerate your awakening. Places like Mount Shasta in California, Haleakala in Hawaii, Lake Titicaca in Peru, Uluru in Australia, and certain areas in Bali all hold strong Lemurian energies. If you feel called to visit these locations, honor that calling. But remember that you can connect with these energies through meditation even if physical travel isn't possible. The ocean itself holds the memory of Lemuria. Spending time by the sea, swimming in salt water, or even taking mindful baths with sea salt can help dissolve the veils between your current awareness and your Lemurian memories. The water element was sacred to the Lemurians, and it continues to carry their frequency to this day. Dreams are often a gateway for Lemurian reconnection. Before sleep, set the intention to remember your Lemurian experiences and wisdom. Keep a journal by your bed to record any impressions, images, or messages that come through. Over time, you may notice patterns and receive specific guidance for your spiritual path. Perhaps most importantly, practice heart-centered awareness in your daily life. The Lemurians lived from the heart, making decisions based on what felt harmonious and aligned rather than what the analytical mind dictated. Taking time each day to quiet the mind and listen to the wisdom of your heart will gradually reactivate this Lemurian way of being. Remember that this remembering doesn't happen all at once. It unfolds gradually, in perfect divine timing, as you become ready to integrate each level of awareness. Be patient with yourself and trust the process. Your soul knows exactly how this awakening should unfold for you. As we near the end of our journey together, I want to address an important question. What does it mean to be a Lemurian soul in today's world? Many spiritual teachers speak of Lemurian souls, individuals who had significant lifetimes in Lemuria and have incarnated now to help anchor those frequencies back into Earth's consciousness. If you feel a deep resonance with the Lemurian story, if you've always felt somewhat out of place in modern society, if you naturally gravitate towards spiritual understanding, energy healing, or heart-centered living, you may well be one of these souls. Lemurian souls often share certain characteristics. They tend to be highly sensitive to energies, deeply compassionate, and naturally intuitive. They frequently feel a strong connection to nature, particularly to the ocean. They may struggle with the pace, noise, and competition of modern life, yearning for a more harmonious way of being. They often have vivid dreams or memories of an ancient time when life was more peaceful, more connected, and more spiritually aligned. If you recognize yourself in this description, know that you're not alone. Millions of Lemurian souls have incarnated at this time, drawn by the opportunity to participate in humanity's great remembering. Your sensitivity isn't a weakness, it's a gift. Your feeling of being different isn't a flaw, it's a sign that you remember another way of being. Your challenges in adapting to modern society aren't failures. They're indicators that you're here to help create something new, or perhaps more accurately, to help rebirth something very ancient. The mission of Lemurian souls isn't to escape this world or to live in nostalgia for a lost paradise. It's to bring Lemurian consciousness into present reality, to be bridges between what was and what is becoming. It's to demonstrate through living example what heart-centered awareness looks like in action. It's to hold the frequency of unity, even in the midst of apparent separation. This isn't always an easy path. It requires courage to stand for love in a world that often values power over compassion. It takes strength to honor sensitivity in a culture that rewards toughness. It demands faith to follow the guidance of the heart when the mind cannot see the full picture. But you didn't come here because it was easy. You came because your soul knew that you could make a difference. You came because something in you remembered the promise made long ago, when the last temples of Lemuria were being prepared for their submersion beneath the waves. The promise that one day we would return, we would remember, we would reawaken these frequencies and help birth a new era of consciousness on Earth. That time is now, and your presence here, engaging with this information, feeling the resonance of these words in your heart, is proof that the plan is unfolding perfectly. As we complete our exploration of Lemuria, take a moment to close your eyes, place a hand over your heart, and breathe deeply. Feel the ancient wisdom stirring within you. Feel the connection to countless souls across time and space who have carried this flame. Feel your place in the great tapestry of awakening that is unfolding on our planet right now. The story of Lemuria isn't just history, it's prophecy. It points not only to what was, but to what can be again, not through returning to the past, but through spiraling to a new expression of these timeless truths. The frequencies of peace, harmony, unity, and spiritual alignment that defined Lemurian consciousness are returning to Earth. And you, through your presence, your awareness, and your choices, are part of making that return possible. So walk gently on this earth, knowing that every step can be a prayer. Speak kindly, recognizing that your words carry creative power. Love openly, remembering that the heart is the true center of human power, and trust the wisdom that awakens within you, for it is the voice of your Lemurian soul, guiding you home to the truth of who you are. Thank you for journeying with me into the heart of Lemuria. Until we meet again, may the peace of the Ancient Ones be with you. May the wisdom of the motherland guide you. And may the love that transcends all time and space continue to awaken within your beautiful heart.